Hello everyone, I'm Jimin Park, who's intern at Bank, and I'm docent today for 2021 National Brand Exhibition, A Friend of ASEAN, Korea. First of all, I want to ask you a question. What do you think of Asia? Maybe I guess that many of you will think of colonized countries under imperialism and developing countries or tourist spots through Asia. Then let's change the question to, what can you think of brilliant culture and history of ASEAN that you want to introduce to the world? If you are interested in Asia, you will easily answer to this question. But if you are not, maybe you will think that you were not that interested in Asia until now. But in ASEAN countries, there are many heroes who try to save the country and people in crisis of the country. And there are many beautiful cultural heritages, and there are many kind of history which people can be proud of. Until now, Bank Youth were trying to promote Korea and correct distorted things about Korea. But from now on, they will introduce people from all over the world about ASEAN countries and countries in Asia. So through this exhibition, we will introduce you about ASEAN countries, and we hope you to participate in this kind of Bank Youth activities. So let's start, and I will introduce about wonderful, great, precious, beautiful, and look-alike friend of Korea, ASEAN countries. The first country is wonderful friend of Korea, Indonesia. Have you heard of Yogyakarta? It's famous for that the whole city is museum. Designated as UNESCO World Heritage, there are the biggest Buddhist temple in the world, Borobudur Temple, and the oldest Hindu temple in the world, Prambanan Temple. There is a similar city in Korea as well, which is called Gyeongju, and it's called as a museum without a roof. It's designated as a World Historical City by UNESCO, and Gyeongju is also a capital of Silla Kingdom, which has history of 1,000 years. And below Gyeongju, there is hanbok, which I'm wearing right now. And hanbok is a beautiful Korean traditional clothes, which is loved by Korean people and also people from all over the world. And batik is similar one with hanbok. It stemmed from traditional dyeing method of Indonesia. And it symbolizes goods made with technique of batik, and it's also a culture which represents Indonesia today. Then how Bank Youth are promoting Indonesia and Korea? First of all, Bank introduces Yogyakarta and Gyeongju of Korea through card news. Second, they introduce Indonesia to the world through digital posters. Third, they also introduce the friendship between Korea and Indonesia through videos. Fourth, Bank introduces activities of youth in Bank who promoted Korea in Jakarta and Surabaya in Indonesia. Fifth, Bank introduces their activities of promoting Korea in Indonesia through photos, and you can also see those photos through this website. Next is photos by Yeonam News Agency, and you can feel a long history of this temple through the photos. Next is also photos by Yeonam News Agency, and you can see Gyeongju and hanbok through those photos. The next country is wonderful friend of Korea, Cambodia. Do you know Angkor Wat? It's the biggest and the most beautiful temple in the world, which has history about 1,000 years. It was located in the capital of Khmer Empire, which is Angkor Thom, and there lived about 1 million of people. So we can say that it was the big city. So even though there are many distorted things left about ASEAN countries right now, we can say that in 12th century, Cambodia, Angkor Wat was the world-class level of civilized city. There's similar heritage in Korea as well, which is called Jikji. If we ask people from Western countries about movable metal type, most of them will think of Gutenberg Bible of Europe. But Korea's Jikji was printed in movable metal type in 1377, and it was printed about 78 years earlier than Gutenberg Bible of Europe. Then how Bank Youth are promoting Cambodia and Korea, which have similar heritages? The first way is through card news. They are promoting Cambodia and Korea and introduce their heritages through card news. And second, Bank introduces Angkor Wat, where you can see Cambodia's brilliant history and culture, and Jikji, the world's first movable metal type, which was printed in 1377 through these digital posters. Third, Bank is promoting Jikji through website, and you can also visit this website to see Jikji's story and to know its historical value. And fourth, Bank also tells us how Jikji was discovered and known to the world through card news. And also, they tell us how Koreans are letting people know about Jikji. And fifth, Bank informs Jikji through video as well. And this is photos by Yonhap News Agency, and you can feel long history of Cambodia through these photos. And also, you can see Jikji through these photos by Yonhap News Agency as well. The next country is great friend of Korea, Thailand. Do you know King Ramkhamhaeng? He's a king of Sukhothai, which was the ancient kingdom of Thailand. In 1283, based on Khmer script, he independently developed Thai characters suitable for writing Thai. So Thais have great pride in Thai characters, and this king is loved by Thai people. And there was a similar person in Korean history as well. You can know him or not. He's King Sejong of Joseon Dynasty, which was in Korean history. He also created Hangul, which is Korean, and so that anyone can read and write, transcending social positions. So he's also respected by Korean people and loved by everyone. Bank youth are promoting these similar two countries, Thailand and Korea, through card news. Also, they are promoting Thailand to world through digital posters. You can see King Ramkhamhaeng through this digital poster. And third, they introduce King Sejong and Hangul through website. You can also visit this website and see how Bank youth are promoting Hangul and King Sejong. Fourth, they are introducing King Sejong through videos. And these are photos by Yonhap News Agency, and there you can see King Sejong. You can see him also in Gwanghwamun, Seoul in Korea. The next country is great friend of Korea, Vietnam. Do you know Ho Chi Minh? He is the independence activist who led the independence movement during the period when Vietnam was under the colonial rule of France and Japan. And through the record, we could know that he shared his dream and will of independence with Korean independence activists as well. And through car news, Bank youth are introducing Ho Chi Minh from Vietnam and independence activists from Korea who shared their dream for independence about 100 years ago. And Bank also introduces Ho Chi Minh through digital posters. And through the videos, Bank introduces how Ho Chi Minh and Korean independence activists share their dreams. Next, Bank also made a website to promote Korean independence activists. You can also visit this website and see the stories of independence activists in Korea. And these are photos by Yonhap News Agency, and through this photo, you can see Ho Chi Minh of Vietnam, and maybe you can feel his will of independence. The next country is precious friend of Korea, Malaysia. Do you know Penang Bridge and Petronas Twin Tower? They are very famous for their length. And Penang Bridge is a bridge connecting mainland of Malaysia and Penang Island, which is called as the Pearl of the East. Through Petronas Twin Tower, we can talk about the relationship between Malaysia and Korea. A Korean company participated in the construction of Petronas Twin Tower, and one of these two towers was constructed by Korean company. So if you are interested in Petronas Twin Tower, you can search for which building was constructed by Korean company because the other one was constructed by Japanese company. And Bank is promoting this cooperation between Malaysia and Korea through card news. And secondly, Bank also introduces the symbols of Malaysia, the Penang Bridge and Petronas Twin Tower through digital posters. This one is Petronas Twin Tower and the below one is Penang Bridge. And these photos are by Yeonam News Agency and you can see Petronas Twin Tower through these photos. The next country is precious friend of Korea, Laos. Do you know Wat Pho Temple? This is a symbol of splendid history of ancient Asia, and it was designated as UNESCO World Heritage in 2001. Through Wat Pho Temple, we can also talk about Korea that revives the cultural heritage of Laos and also the cultural heritages that our humanity must protect and preserve. Since 2013, Korea participated in restoration projects of Laos Wat Pho Temple ruins, and there, Korea found very important heritages. And there, Korea founded Kumdong-yoni, and that was the first one which was discovered in Laos. And through Car News, Bank Youth are promoting the cooperation between Laos and Korea. And they are also introducing Wat Pho Temple through digital posters. These photos are by Yeonam News Agency, and you can feel the long history of these ruins through the photos. The next country is beautiful friend of Korea, Myanmar. Have you heard of Shwedagon Pagoda? It is the home of the hearts of people from Myanmar, and it symbolizes the brilliant Buddhist culture. And if we think about Buddhist culture, we can think of Korean Buddhist heritage, which is Seokguram. It is an artificial stone temple, which is the only in the world, and it has a 1,000-year history as it was built during the Silla period in Korean history. And it's very famous for its great construction technology. And Bank Youth are introducing this Shwedagon Pagoda and Seokguram through card news. Also, they are letting people know about the brilliant Buddhist culture of Myanmar through digital posters. And these are photos by Yeonam News Agency, and you can see how big the temple is through the photos. The next country is beautiful friend of Korea, Philippines. Have you heard of Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park? This is the world's longest underground river among the rivers that people can enter, and it's very famous for its length and beautiful natural sceneries. And similar with this spot, there's Jeju Island in Korea, and it's also very famous for that it won Triple Crown of UNESCO Natural Sciences sector. And Bank Youth are introducing the beautiful heritages of Philippines and Korea through card news. And Bank also introduces Banawe Rice Terrace, which is on Philippine money and also known as the 8th wonder of the world. This one is Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park, and this one is Banawe Rice Terrace. And it's the 8th wonder of the world because it's known that its length is about half of the earth. And also, Bank is letting people know about Jeju Island through the videos. These photos are by Yeonam News, and you can see Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park through the photos. And you can also see the beautiful scenery of Jeju Island through the photos by Yeonam News Agency. The next country is beautiful friend of Korea, Brunei. Do you know Omar Ali Safety Mosque? This is the iconic mosque of Brunei, and it's famous for connecting the river, artificial lake, and the mosque. And when we think of the harmony between this mosque and the nature, we can also think of Changdeokgung Palace in Korea. And Changdeokgung Palace is also famous for its harmony between nature and people, and it was constructed close to people's residential space to reduce the communication gap between the king and the people. And it was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage in 1997. And Bank introduces beautiful architectures of two countries, Omar Ali Safety Mosque and Changdeokgung Palace, through card news. And also they are promoting Kampong Air in Brunei, where the culture of floating houses is well preserved through digital posters. And Bank introduces the beautiful world cultural heritage in Korea through the videos. And these are photos by Yeonam News Agency, and you can see Changdeokgung Palace and Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque through the photos. Even though their appearances are different, you can feel the harmony between the architecture and nature through the photos. The last country is look-alike friend of Korea, Singapore. Do you know Marina Bay Sands Hotel? It's very famous, so maybe you can know about this hotel, and it's called as a face of Singapore. And it's famous for the sky park in the shape of a giant ship which connects the rooftops of 3 57-story hotel buildings. And it was built by Ssangyong, which is a Korean construction company, so it symbolizes the friendship between Singapore and Korea as well. And the picture below is Peranakan, which is a symbol of the traditional culture and contemporary culture of Singapore. And most of all, Singapore and Korea are sharing the similar dream to lead the Asian culture. Then how Bank Youth are promoting Singapore and Korea? Bank Youth are promoting beautiful heritage of Singapore and the friendship between Singapore and Korea through card news. They also introduce Singapore through digital posters. This one is Marina Bay Sands Hotel, and the picture below is Peranakan. And this one, which is between Marina Bay Sands Hotel and Peranakan, is called Merlion. And it seems like a lion, and its body seems like a mermaid. So people connected the word lion and mermaid and started to call it Merlion. And Bank is also spreading the dreams of Korean youth through videos. These are photos by Yeonam News Agency, and you can see Marina Bay Sands Hotel, Peranakan, and Merlion that I said before. Like this, because of the past, there are still distorted informations about ASEAN countries, but Asian countries are becoming a center of world economy, and people are having interest in Asia. So, in this Asian era, what should Korean youth do? Bank thinks that it's to be a good friend with Asian countries. So from now on, I'm going to tell you about what we should do as an Asia Goodwill Ambassador. First of all, open your mind to Asian people in your neighborhood. There will be many people from Asian countries around you, so be friends with them and have a conversation about your country, history, and cultural heritages. And second, learn about the history and culture of Asian countries. To be friends with them, you should know about them. Third, break away from Western-oriented perspectives about Asia. It is important to try to listen to Asian people's voices about their own history and culture. Fourth, to be a good friends with Asian people, it is also important to connect with Asian friends through SNS. Fifth, let's dream about the future of Korea together with Bank Youth, who are promoting the Korea and ASEAN countries. Sixth, learn and share the accurate information about Asia because it's important to know about Asia correctly to let people know about Asia correctly. Seventh, overcome Orientalism and Occidentalism because it's important to break away from Western-oriented perspectives, but it's also important to make them collaborate. And for the last step, through all of these activities, you can take a part in the upcoming Asian era. And these are postcards of ASEAN history and culture, which is made by Bank to promote ASEAN countries, and you can also see them through this Flickr website. Also, Bank is sharing ASEAN maps to let people know about ASEAN countries' traditional clothes, culture, greetings, heroes, and cultural heritages. Also, there are videos about ASEAN, and you can see those videos through YouTube channel of Bank. And these videos are about how can we become a good friend with Asian people and how can we stop racism against Asian in this serious situation induced because of coronavirus. We decided the theme of this exhibition is a friend of ASEAN Korea and a friend of Korea ASEAN, but the most important people is each of you who will be good friends with ASEAN. We hope you get to know more about ASEAN countries and be good friends with ASEAN. Thank you for listening.